Hello, hello. Not financial advice. Um, I don't know if you know SOXL or not, but SOXL is a three times bull fund for SOX for the semiconductor sector. And when those companies are doing great, it makes a bunch of money. But we're now at basically the lows. It touched on the lows this recent period, right around the sorry, October 22nd, and when COVID had occurred. This has been around like for about a decade or so, so we don't have any major events before that. So the worst possibility could be it could go as low as 433. Well, worst possibility is it goes to zero or gets reverse split. I'll talk about that in a second. But I've tempted to sell a put option on it. Now, there are a couple of ways to go, but I'm looking at the January 2026. And so it's trading at about, I guess at this point, it's $120 now. Another option might be the May 16th, which is 30 days. Jay Powell is speaking right now, and he's just crushing the market. Um, but yeah, he's doing a pretty good job of making the market suffer. Um, but using the $115 and annualizing it, I used 365 or 275, get you about $152. You got to put up $500 of collateral, but you get 100 and it's 120 now at this point, right? 120, you get 120 right back. You're really only putting up 380, but just using simple math, you earn $120 on $500 invested by January 16th if it doesn't hit $5. And it says 32% annualized return, which isn't so bad. It's pretty decent, I think. For the risk, I'm not really the best at assessing for the risk. I mean, it takes a lot more math than I'm able to do or want to do. Now, the big issue is that way back a couple of years ago, when SOXL semiconductors were getting killed, there was discussion of a reverse split, which would mean that if you owned 100 shares of SOXL, let's say, and they did a 1 for 10 reverse split, it would have been only 10 shares. And we have some examples because in April of 2024, they reverse split SOXS, which is the three times, it's levered three times bear fund for the semiconductor industry, which is now doing pretty well actually, right? Because the market's getting crapped on. However, and I asked ChatGPT what was the price at the time when they did the reverse split. It was $3.21, but if you look, right around, I guess this is where it took place. Um, before then it was doing pretty bad. So I imagine it hit like the $5 threshold because at $5, a lot of larger funds can't buy. I think it's $5 is the threshold. They have some rules like that, like to avoid being involved in like penny stocks, etc. So, you know, if it hits $5, it could reverse up. I could be stuck with 10 shares, let's say, but it might be worth like $30 a piece, just like SOXS was. But at 10 shares at that point, I'd have to buy another 90 if I wanted to sell covered calls on them to start getting my money back. I mean, it's a thing I've done in the past where um, I will sell covered calls on shares that I get stuck with or something like that to make the money back. Um, and so that's the big risk is having then at that point when it reverses and it goes, it's one thing when you're buying 100 shares for $5. It's another thing when you have to buy 90 shares for $35 a piece, which is another uh, $3,000 or so, or something like that. And so probably isn't really worth doing the trade, but I'm curious if any of you would do this trade because the return is not bad. I mean, if I wanted to be more aggressive, I could buy something closer to the strike right now. Um, I mean, who knows, right? I mean, the drop where were we? Let's say life was okay on April 2nd, let's just say. It dropped as low. It lost, holy crap, it lost 55% on the tariff news. So, thinking out loud, walking through this, just too much risk to. At the same time, it's like, how much more do you think it's going to take a beating, right? But it's three times. So whatever SOX is doing, it's just going to be, even three times worse or three times better, right? That's just how it, so it only lost like, yeah, 21%, 22. It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't perfectly three, it seems like. But if we look here, we look at levels of support because you can actually draw more. Yeah, there's something around here. It didn't touch there. This is back in October, and this was COVID. So I get, yeah, the thing. Okay, yeah. The more I'm like thinking this out loud, maybe this is just a bad idea, a really bad idea in a whole bunch of levels. Because from the COVID peak down to the bottom of COVID was 36%. Uh, so if this does go 100, if this just goes 36%, let's say, all right, and SOXL is three times, would be 100%. I mean, you basically just get nuked to zero. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to lose $500 to make 115 bucks, 120 bucks. Um, that reverse split fear is pretty bad. Might be a different play if I were to play with SOXX, but at the same time, to do this is going to cost at least 15 grand. I don't have 15 grand. I only have like 5 grand. So I probably shouldn't trade it. Anyway, I just thought I would just have fun, have a discussion about it. I'm curious what you would do if you were to sell. Would you sell an option on SOXL right now? All right. Once again, not financial advice, just for entertainment purposes only. Have a good one.